Hello, first of all, I want to say Merry Christmas. Today's, of course, Christmas Day, and since today's Christmas, I figured why not review a Christmas-themed horror film, and the movie I want to review is Elves. Now, Elves came out in 1989. Now, when this movie first came out, I think it got like a limited theatrical release, but pretty much it was released straight to video when it came out. Now, this movie, to the best of my knowledge, isn't available on official DVD yet. This is actually kind of like a bootleg in a way. Like, I think it was ripped from a VHS, and I got this from a horror convention a couple of months ago, but to the best of my knowledge, I don't think this movie is available on official DVD yet. Now, those of you familiar with Brad Jones, the Cinema Snob, may be familiar with this movie because the Cinema Snob did a review on this movie a couple of years ago, which I will admit is kind of how I found out about the movie, and then when I saw a copy of this movie at the convention I was at a few months ago, I was like, I gotta check that out. I mainly checked the movie out of curiosity because I have heard quite a bit about this movie. Now, the plot of Elves is, it's about this teenage girl named Kristen who, in the beginning of the movie, her and her two friends are out in the middle of the woods messing around with one of her grandfather's books, and, and they're reading some spell from the book, and then she accidentally cuts herself and her blood gets on the ground, and long story short, her blood ends up summoning a demonic elf, and they're out of the woods long before this elf ends up coming out of the ground, but basically now this evil elf is going after her, but you find out in the movie that her grandfather is also her father. It turns out that her grandfather actually raped her mother and impregnated her mother with her, and it turns out that her grandfather/father was also a Nazi during World War II, and now there are these neo-Nazis going after her because it turns out that these neo-Nazis know about the elf, and they're actually trying to get the elf to impregnate Kristen because it turns out that this is going to somehow give birth to the master race. I shit you not, that's the premise of this movie. But in the movie, there's a former detective turned department store Santa named Mike, and who's played by Haggerty in the movie, and he finds out about all this, and now he's trying to stop this evil elf and the neo-Nazis. That's the plot line of this movie. It's one of the most ludicrous plot lines I've ever seen in any movie, but what's really hilarious about this movie is the fact that it plays it so straight. Like, it's such an out-there premise, yet, it takes itself so freaking seriously. Now, to be fair, there are other horror films out there that have kind of ridiculous premises, but take themselves seriously and are actually good. This isn't one of them. This movie is actually pretty bad. It's not bad in, like, an unwatchable sense. It's more bad in kind of a hilarious way. Like, it's kind of like Troll 2 or the Leprechaun movies, although I will be honest, I'll rather watch the Leprechaun movies over this movie, to be honest. It really isn't that good of a movie. I only checked the movie out of curiosity because I heard about it from the Cinema Snob, and then I saw a copy of it at the convention. If you find a copy of this movie, watch it out of curiosity, and who knows, you might love the movie, but I don't know, I didn't think it was that great, but I didn't think it was that bad either. It's, like I said, it's more bad in a so bad that it's good kind of way. Now, in the movie, Haggerty's character, he's definitely the best character in this movie, and most of the other characters in this movie really aren't likable at all. Like, Kristen, she's somewhat likable. I mean, you definitely feel for her, especially when you find out how fucked up her family actually is, and her mother in this movie is a real freaking bitch. Like, her mother actually kills her cat in this movie, and, her mother's just such a piece of shit character, and, and you would think you would feel sorry for her because, you find out that she was raped by her father, but, I mean, you do feel sorry for her in that sense, but at the same time, she does such horrible shit in this movie that you definitely lose a lot of sympathy for this character, and spoiler, the elf does kill her in this movie, and when the elf kills her in this movie, not a single tear was shed by me. Also, Kristen's friends in this movie, they are literally some of the dumbest characters I've ever seen in a movie, and I really couldn't give a shit about them. So most of the characters in this movie, with the exception of Dan Haggerty's character and Kristen, the rest of the characters I really couldn't give two shits about. And honestly, a good horror film, I think, has likable characters, and likable characters are kind of lacking in this movie. But yeah, that's my review on Elves. If you find a copy of it, once again, check it out out of curiosity, but I didn't particularly love it, but I didn't hate it either.
Is that roast beef?
No, sweetie, it's roast turkey. What? Yeah. Rosa, what's going on, Rosa?
Hey, I'm sorry to bother you, Doc. I need to get some vital information from you. It's important.
How dare you burst in on me like this? It's Christmas Eve. I'm having dinner with my family. If you want to talk to me, call my office on Thursday.
Hey, look, I know it's Christmas Eve, and I apologize about that. I got your number from Dr. Fitzpatrick. I need you to help me out. This is a matter of life and death, and it's not going to wait till Thursday. You understand that?
You know I'm a member of Neighborhood Watch.
Come on, man. Take it easy. This is only going to take a minute.
All right, what's it about?
I want you to tell me what you know about the elves.
Elves, my God, this is a matter of life and death. Rosa, telefone a la policia.
Okay.
Llame al policio,
Hey,
Rosa,
listen.
911.
By the time you get through to her, I'll be out of here, all right? Tell me what you know.
All right. You have 1 minute.
I want to know the connection between the elves and the Nazis.